All right, welcome everybody. Eugene, the Metal Fab Shop. I present to you my monster badass drill press here. It started life as a bench mounted drill press, El Cheapo Deluxe Skill drill press, and I was using the drill press obviously with the different drill motor on it to fabricate my little motorized toys, and I would need to make holes in 3/16 inch steel and the like, and I was using these little metal hole saws here to get the job done, and it wasn't doing a good job. I found the bits would chatter and wander and flex all over the place, and the holes were all over the place. I was wanting to make an 1 3/8 inch hole for bearings to fit in snugly, and the bearings weren't fitting snugly. I'd cut it and the bearing would have lots of slop and play in it. So I did some reading and research on annular cutters. I found out that you want to make a very accurate hole in steel, round hole that is, right? Annular cutters work great, okay? And what they'll do is they'll make the hole very accurate, the outer size of the cutter, because this here finishes the hole and reams it out to a very precise size, and these teeth down here do the cutting, and it kind of cuts a core out of the metal, and it goes in here, and you've got this pin here, and the purpose of the pin, I guess, is like threefold. Number one, you can drill a pilot hole in your material to be drilled, and this here helps keep it located in the hole. Then when you press up on this here, it allows cutting fluid to go down. The pin here is machined flat in this area right here, and when it raises up enough, it lets fluid out and helps flood the workpiece, cools the bit. It's got some oil in it, lubricates it, helps prolong the life of the cutter here, and you can cut a hole in, I've timed it with this size bit here. I've cut a hole in 1/4 inch thick steel in 25 seconds. And it leaves, it makes a very precise, accurate hole in your steel. And here is the reservoir here. And you've got an adjustment here, and right now this is in the raised up position. It goes down further, but when the pin hits the workpiece, the fluid goes down this tube here and floods the workpiece here. Let me show you how to install the annular cutter. Now this cutter here uses an industry standard 3/4 inch weld-on shank, 3/4 of an inch in diameter around here, and then they machine these two flats here for the set screws to lock it in position. I've seen some people complain about or having issues with the bit having run out. And when these machines are new, it's a very tight fit, this weld-on shank, to go into the holder. And if you don't have the annular cutter, or if you have a Jacob's chuck with the adapter, if you don't have it fully pushed up in there, and if there's any, you can look at my finger here right now, just in handling the bit, there's some metal shavings in there. If you've got a metal shaving in there, it's going to make it have run out when it turns. So you got to make sure that your weld-on shank is clean, that we're clean up in here, and that you have the bit fully pushed up in there. And as you can see, I bought an optional Jacob's chuck to go with this machine here. So I decided, why don't I take my existing bench mounted drill press, go ahead, remove the head from the drill press, and mount this on. Here's the original magnet that came on this drill here. So what I did is I removed the 4 bolts that go into the magnet that hold it on. I cut the wires, pushed the wires back up inside, taped them off, or put wire nuts on it, taped it off. That way I don't get shocked, and bolted it to this piece of steel here that I welded onto the column. That way I've got a fully functioning, versatile, powerful drill that I can use my annular cutters on, and with the Jacobs chuck I got a complete drilling solution. One thing I wasn't too happy about with this here, going from a small budget bench mounted drill press, was the size of this table here. I came up with this here, and this here is still a work in progress, but basically it's just a 3/16 inch steel piece here that I welded on the 3 1-inch square tubing here, and I've drilled some holes in it, and this here slides onto the existing table there, and I can come with clamps and clamp this in place. That way I don't get any shake on it. I'm going to weld up some little pieces here that fit rather small and compact and allow me to bolt this in to lock this table in place. Now as well, I've got the slots here where I can utilize these T-bolts to hold these machinist clamps that I've got to clamp a workpiece down. As well, if I wanted to, I could weld a nut onto this plate here, utilize this piece here, and clamp a workpiece down on this here. As powerful as this drill motor is, you want to make good and sure that you never hold it by hand. You always want to have your workpiece firmly held in place, and as well, if nothing else, if you're using a vise, make sure that the vise is resting against the column there. That way it's not going to slip and an accident happens. One other thing that I do for safety on this here is I have a foot switch rigged up to it here. You can see I've got some run out here, but I've got a foot switch on it that I can operate it by foot. That way if anything happens, I release my foot from this here and the machine shuts down here. Now as you can see, I've got some run out. And that's because this piece is not firmly pushed up in there. Let's take care of that. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make some holes in this piece here. I'll show you how it works. Let's use this 3/4 inch one here. I could feel as I push this annular cutter in, I could feel it pushing against the spring. And the spring is rather, has a lot of tension on it. So you got to push up in there rather hard. Sometimes I've even had to go ahead and drop the annular cutter against my workpiece and hold down on the handle a little bit to make sure I've got the bit fully pushed in. Otherwise I'll have run out. So let's see what we've got here. Okay, that is running true. Let's go ahead and make a hole in this piece of steel here. I'm going to take this extension off. Let's go ahead and mark the locations where we're going to be drilling. And just for grins, I went ahead and drilled some little pilot holes here to help keep the annular cutter firmly locked into place. One other thing that I added to this drill here is this variable speed controller. Since this motor on this drill has brushes on it, you can use a variable speed controller such as this here. Let me go ahead and turn this all the way down. I installed the variable speed control on it because with these annular cutters, particularly you get to the larger holes, you don't want this thing spinning all that fast. You slow it down, you'll cut your hole even quicker. Now let's see here. You can see the cutting fluid. It's already starting to flood the workpiece. And the result is a very clean hole here, very accurately sized, with minimal burrs on it. So you want to take a deburring tool and clean it up just a little bit here, but it leaves a very accurate hole. Let's go ahead and drill the second hole. Now you can see we're still dripping here, and the pin isn't out. Let me zoom out here, show you what we got here. And normally when this thing here goes through the metal, the pin, being spring-loaded, will push the slug that it cuts out. We didn't do that this time. Most of the time it does. Whoop, and it popped the slug out, taking it out here. So there is the slug that was cut out. It actually goes into it. It's like it's cutting a core out here. And normally when it pops through, the pin pushes this out, and here are the holes that we cut. Like I said, these sides of these here are very smooth, they're very accurate, there's very little irregularities in it. And there we go, that's what I got here. Like I said, I'm very proud of myself on this one here. If you'd like, I put links down below for you if you're interested in getting one of these mag drills here. This is a very well priced one here. Some of these guys here go into the thousands of dollars. This one here was about $300. The drill press that I started with was less than $200. The annular cutter kit that I bought was about $180. Jacob's chuck was about $50. So I'll leave links to all this stuff here down below. Hey, if you found any of this helpful, give me a thumbs up. There's a subscribe button down there. Helps other people find it if you think it's helping people. And notifications. If you got any questions, leave a message down there.